All right, so welcome to part 2 of this just fun Voronoi texture thing that's super easy to make, where we make this texture into a displacement to displace the plane that it is on. So we're going to start with the shading that we had from the last video. And if you haven't watched that, watch that and then come here. And so the first step we are going to do is we're going to take this color ramp, we're going to make sure it's back in linear, and then we're going to delete our mix node, and we're going to bring back our principled BDSF shader. There it is. Cool. And I'm just gonna move that up there. I'm gonna plug that into the surface, and we're left with a regular white plane. So what we have to do now is we have to give the plane a little geometry. So we're gonna hit Tab to go into edit mode after we've selected the plane. And we're gonna right click, subdivide, subdivide, and let's just do that a bunch. You can also just choose the number of cuts only after hitting subdivide once, but where's the fun in that? Cool, now we're gonna tab back out and go back to the shader editor. So all we need to do is hit Shift A, go to Vector, and get a displacement node, and plug the color into the height. And then from the height, we go to the displacement. And then since displacement only works with cycles, you can see it as a bump, but if you want it to actually displace like you saw in the intro, first let's go into rendered mode. Let's then go from EV to cycles. So yeah, now that we're in cycles, we're gonna click our plane one more time. We're going to go to material, and we're going to go down to settings, and under surface bump only, we're going to change that to displacement and bump, and boom, check that out, we have a big mess. Okay, so I've been playing with the detail and the noise, so I'm going to bring the detail down. I'm going to bring the scale of the noise down so we have less that it's doing. I'm bringing the scale of the Voronoi texture down too, just so it's a little less crazy. Cool, and then I'm going to bring the scale of this down too, of the displacement node, so it doesn't get quite so crazy. Alright, I'm gonna click on this lamp, I'm gonna change it to a sun. I'm gonna bring that down to like 100, because that's a little crazy. Okay, even that's a little crazy. I'm gonna bring it down to like 10. I don't know why it was that high. And we're gonna hit G, Z, and bring that up, kind of out of the way. And yeah, this is looking... Forgot to set this to GPU. So yeah, make sure if you have a GPU, set cycles to GPU. So yeah, it's starting to look like that intro that you saw, right? Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna click on our plane again. We're gonna shade smooth, which didn't really do much. What you gotta do is let's add a subdivision surface modifier. And we're gonna try upping that quite a few times. Oh, you can still see those jagged edges. This might be bad practice, but whatever, I don't care. Cool. So yeah, that's kind of it. Make sure your render is up to 5. This might be a little taxing on your computer. You might need a bit of a beefy computer to deal with all this geometry. If it's not working for you in your viewport here, bring this back down to 2, and you will have jagged edges here, but in your render you'll have 5 subdivisions and it'll look like how it just did. Cool, so I'm gonna just scale this up quite a bit more. I'm gonna try bringing the Voronoi texture up too, just so we have more of a plane like in the intro. I'm gonna bring the scale down just so it's not clipping so much with everything, and that kind of helps with the jagged edges as well. I set the camera up like something like here, so I'm gonna hit Control Alt 0. And I'm gonna change the camera. So I'm gonna click on the camera settings here. I'm gonna make it more of a wide angle. So I'm gonna bring this down to like 19, so like pretty wide. And okay, I'm gonna bring the perspective, or switch this back to HD TV. Is that the one I want? Yeah, that's the one I want. And yeah, and then to just tilt the camera down, we're gonna hit RXX, which rotates it on the local x-axis. And yeah, that's kind of what it looked like, right? The last thing, which is not super important, just for fun, I added some subsurface to this, just so it kind of peeked through red a little bit where the sun was shining through. And I just thought it looked kind of cool. So yeah, that's kind of it. Now if we render a frame, I don't know how many samples this has. Yeah, the subdivision surface applies, and we get this cool looking thing. And it'll still animate and everything. It just will be kind of difficult to see in real time, because you have to be in cycles to really see it. But yeah, that is displacing, the cool, funky, super easy Voronoi noise texture thing that I made up. So hopefully you liked it. Oh my god, I totally forgot the little dimply bits that go on the surface as well. So let's do that really quick. It's super easy. What we gotta do is we gotta Shift A, add another mix RGB, blop, put that in there, and then we're gonna Shift A, add another noise texture, plug the factor into the other color, and just so we only see the noise texture, let's shift this all the way to the right. And now this noise texture is being, as you can see, is being displaced by the displacement node, because all the factors, only color 2 is going through. So let's, we're going to be scaling this up quite a bit indeed. Maybe something like that. And let's just bring back a little bit of, yeah, so we're gonna be mostly like really close to 0 on here. Let's scale this up quite a bit more. Let's bring it up to like 104. Let's go even higher. Yeah, the super fancy people will have Node Wrangler enabled, and if you don't have that, have you seen any tutorials yet? You go to Edit, Preferences, go to the add-ons, look for Node Wrangler, there it is, make sure it's clicked. But then all you have to do is hit Control T, and it'll bring up a mapping and texture coordinate node, and you're just going to plug the object into the vector, and that way it'll be nice and smooth even on the sides of the texture. You can see here it was getting a little bit jank in the divots going in, and this will just whoops, into the vector, and this will just help it. So let's crank the scale even more, a little bit more, and then just really finesse this factor. And yeah, and then we can just like, I don't know, make this look however you want. It's your freaking project. So I'm gonna bring specular down, I'm gonna bring the roughness down, because that's how I'm feeling today. I'm feeling shiny and smooth, and yeah, that should be everything. That's all I did. Blammo! That's a weird animated, bubbly, fun texture. Okay, bye.